Welcome out, gamers and gamettes. This RGL.GG Invite Sixes cast. We have hit the playoffs of the mini season, and we are watching the number 2 seed Witness Gaming Xiao take on the number 3 seed in Globalclan. I am Alto, joined by Exile to my side, Dolphin behind the camera as always. Exile, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. This is first round of playoffs here. Upper bracket round 1 here. We have Witness Gaming Xiao versus Globalclan. Again, we casted some match against these guys last week on Process, where Witness Gaming Xiao was able to do a swift. Was it 5-0? I think it was 5-0 or 5-1.
5-0.
5-0 against 5-0 against Globalclan. So very strong showing there. I'm kind of excited to see how this first round of playoffs goes for both these teams, and I already see some differences in rosters actually.
Yeah, we can go run down those real quick. So, on the side of Globalclan, it will be Darty and Scratch playing Scout, Sandblast on Roamer, Anthony on Pocket, and then those changes you mentioned, it will be Dingo coming in on Demo and Gratitude in on Medic.
So, yeah, I guess we've seen this roster before in regular season here in the mini season. I think on their first match, they did have Dingo maybe playing, and Gratitude is like a medic I've seen kind of coming in and out for Yuna during the regular season. And I guess he's playing their first match of playoffs, which is going to be pretty good here. Just going to showcase the Witness Gaming Xiao roster. Again, our number 2 seed team in Invite this season. Minaj on Flank Scout, Moose on Combo Scout, Robotnik or Aimer on Roamer Soldier, Loaf on Pocket Soldier, Logan on Demo, and Hubbard on Medic. So a very strong roster. We've seen them before. Strong roster, strong players. I'm ready to see how they play in this match. First match we have map is going to be on Bagel. So it's going to be a very, very interesting map. I'm kind of curious how Globalclan is going to be able to play against this pick. It was Witness Gaming's pick here for the first map of this best of 3. Bagel, similar to product, that's going to be Koth. However, I do think this has a lot more openings for like their flanks, like the Soldier or the Flank Scout, stuff like that. So I'm kind of excited to see what both teams' flank are able to do on a map like Bagel.
Yeah, and I'm going to be really interested to see how Globalclan's, if at all, able to kind of elevate their game from what we've seen them put up against Xiao thus far. Been able to cast both of their 2 matches this season. Both were 5-0, first on Gully, then on Process last week. And both had the exact same flavor, right? Globalclan coming in as the underdogs are showing enough potential to potentially get around. They spend a lot of time sitting outside of Xiao's last, are entirely unable to ever convert around, and then the second they let go of the reins for even a second, Xiao kind of, pedal to the metal, slams the accelerator, pushes them all the way back to last, and they lose. I think that Process match we casted last week, the first 10 minutes of it were basically Globalclan failing to push last, and then in the next 5 to 6 minutes, it was Witness Gaming taking all the rounds back. And it was a very similar pace on Gully. So, kind of gives you an idea of where the teams are at, right? Globalclan able to stand on somewhat even footing with Xiao, but not quite there when it comes to converting anything. It's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic kind of will transfer over to the Koth, right? Because, you're not going to be able to have that really big mid-fight and then kind of go out to last and start pressuring the round immediately. You're going to have to play pretty solidly for an extended period of time, and I think that's going to probably favor Xiao, which is why they picked them up.
Yeah, I think on a map like Bagel, there's a lot less stalemating potential for the team that's on the losing end of it. There's going to be a lot of that time trickling down, and the better team will be able to set up those forward holds a lot more often. On a map like Bagel, forward holds are very common. But even without the forward hold, just the standard 66 on that midpoint, there's a lot of presence on how fast the cap goes. So if a team just keeps bouncing the cap back and getting that time because of that, there will be a lot of rounds taken just purely off of that cap time alone. So I think just for this first map here, I think it's going to be Witness Gaming Xiao's kind of favor there. I'm predicting kind of just a 4-0, honestly. It's a map like this is going to be hard. But remember, the maps are going to be on Bagel, Process, and Sunshine for this best of 3.
Yeah, so I mean, kind of unfortunately, even if they do manage to win on Bagel, you're still going right to Process where you've already taken that 5-0. But we are live. Witness Gaming on blue, Globalclan on red, coming in the first mid, kicking off the playoffs of this mini season. It's a bit of a passive one.
Yep, both teams just kind of playing on their own plats. I see outside of Globalclan, they're kind of peeking between that left side of doorway. They're trying to get a little bit aggressive and presence on point there. However, Moose takes that aggressive stance on the point immediately. However, Logan Minaj activating on that left side house here, cleaning up Sandblast. Moose getting aggressive on point onto the other side of Globalclan's combo, killing Scratch. Dingo with a great pipe onto Moose here just to kind of salvage what they can. However, Globalclan is going to try and run away back to their spawn, hopefully get their spawners back into the mid. And just like that, it's the first mid won by Witness Gaming.
Yeah, and I know I also got to catch another, I think it was Xiao versus the Tub, I want to say, here on Bagel, and Logan to me is going to be the player to watch here. Just absolutely lethal with the amount of damage he's able to put out across that point in those kind of, standoffs where neither team really wants to be the first one to walk forward. So something to keep track of, as Xiao's already taken a pretty solid time lead thus far. Even Uber, so here comes the exchange.
Yeah, exchange happening for the side of Globalclan here. However, Moose and Hubbard at Uber second here, so there is a better Uber for the side of Witness Gaming. Aimer getting aggressive in the house against Samblas. Samblas does die here. Anthony looking for the trade, does not get it. Aimer with a swift 2K just in the exchange there. Witness Gaming showing a lot of dominance here in that Uber exchange, able to push out Globalclan into that mid-fight retake. Witness Gaming setting up that forward hold. Moose almost getting caught the Dingo sticky traps. Nice and close there for Dingo. However, Globalclan getting pushed back into a corner here as they try to re-push out of spawn.
Yeah, nothing really cooking thus far on the side of Globalclan. I think Dingo's got the only kill for the team right now, as the hold has just been getting gradually more and more aggressive. Just they're probing out all the different areas. They kind of think they're settling on that lower right option, but Sandblast already going to get picked off. Soldiers trying to break through. Anthony will get the trade off onto Minaj, but he's going to be going down in numbers still in their favor. They're forced to back up to spawn. Both teams with Uber. So we're likely to see another exchange soon.
Just a standard 2 versus 2 trade there for both teams. However, with the spawn time being longer for the side of Witness Gaming here, Globalclan does want to get aggressive with the little bit of time they have with 6 players alive. However, Logan and Moose and Hubbard are looking to stay on their Globalclan plat. Scratch takes exchange into Witness Gaming, and Witness Gaming is going to pop second. So again, another better Uber for Moose and Logan, as Scratch takes a solo, tries to get his team back out of plateau here. They actually do, and they take the fight right onto point here. Scratch taking a lot of early damage here, while Logan basically just going to be full health here, trying to deny the point as best as he can. Scratch, Anthony, and Darby are trying to get aggressive into the house onto Aimer. Aimer gets one onto Darty. Anthony gets a trade. However, Minaj cleans up Anthony pretty much right after. So it's gonna be a 5 versus 4 for the side of Globalclan. And Witness Gaming looking very strong here. Logan not really getting pressured that much here, as he's able to pressure the point against Scratch. And Scratch is taking so much damage just trying to get that capture time, but it's not looking very likely. But it's very, very close cap time for Globalclan here. Looking to make the counter play. However, Sandblast jumping onto the point of Scratch, securing that retake. And this is Globalclan's first chance at actually holding this midpoint.
Yeah, first time, and they're already down 2.5 minutes. Xiao's put up such a solid fight. They don't even really get a solid win for it, so it's just going to be another exchange. Popped out first yet again on the side of Globalclan. Better Uber for Logan. Going to be playing back a little bit passive. Moose having gone down, and that means they're on the back foot for really the first time this round. Captain coming in regardless. They're going to nuke Loaf off the top of the point. Scratch will be the trade. Logan so aggressive on the point right now, commanding a lot of space. A Sandblast coming in, not able to convert any kills. Anthony, big nuke from the sky, finds Hubada, but with all of those bodies down, the Cap going to come back through once we see the mid spawn up.
Great kind of follow-up from Anthony from Sandblast's initial kind of entry bomb there to clean up the kill onto Hubada. However, Hubada being dead, there is still a lot of cap time that they have to play against for the side of Globalclan. There's 25 seconds left. With Gratitude only having around 50 ad, they will maybe get Uber before the cap completely is full and Witness Game can secure the round here, but Darty trying to get that early cap time here without Scratch there. However, they're going to trade the roles here in a sec. However, Aimer getting the kill on the Sandblast into house. However, Darty gets a trade. That's going to be a huge trade starting onto this next retake here. Gratitude 10% from Uber. Are they going to be able to get it? But they got to set on the point before the Uber happens. However, Darty winning the 1v1 against Moose. Darty with the flank onto Logan. Get them 2. Darty opening up the entire map for his team. As Globalclan get a 5 for, it looks like no one really. 5 for 1 maybe. And now there's going to be a pause in this match.
Yeah, interesting pause here. We'll let Dolphin let us know whether that's attack or a tech coming through right now. But it does look like, we're finally starting to see Globalclan getting warmed up. They're winning some fights. Gonna be the unpause pretty quickly thereafter. And Gratitude didn't have to use Uber during that. So, backs against the walls with Globalclan, but they've got a little something cooking.
Yeah, Globalclan setting up the default kind of portal here. Darty spotting that bottom right pressure when Witness Gaming does decide to kind of rotate through there. However, it looks like Witness Gaming wants to try and take lobby control first off, and then maybe rotate the bottom right here. It looks like they want to try and do. However, the side of Witness Gaming actually tries to bust out top left here. Remember, Gratitude does have Uber, Hubba does not. Hubba, Gratitude maybe getting forced here. He does. Great bomb coming out of Loaf to force the situation on Gratitude. How about, again, living with 80% advantage this time around? So this time, Witness Gaming does have the ad. All they have to do, really, is just retake the point, and that's going to be the round 1. But let's see how Globalclan is able to kind of answer based on the situation.
Yeah, they have a lot of space right now. They're going to need to try to find, some kind of early pick before the Uber comes out. And Anthony going down is the opposite of what they're looking for right now. Already down numbers when the Uber is in favor of Witness Gaming. Darty's going to go next, and I think this one's just going to be automatic here. Not even needing to Uber. Good honor by Hubba to not even stat pad the logs there.
So there might be a swap in servers potentially happening in this match. There's a lot of lag going on, but again, remember, first round was won by Witness Gaming. We're going to see if they swap either this map or the next map, or we're going to be starting into the next mid fight. I think they're just going to be playing the mid and to this second round and say, oh, yeah, they're just going to be playing out, maybe? I'm not really too sure what's going on here. Okay, it looks like we're going to be switching servers, actually. So we're going to be going on a brief pause as they change servers. I guess the lag must have been really, really bad for the players, so just stay tuned for that. But yeah, other than that, that first round was very, very strong from Witness Gaming. I mean, Hubba kind of keeping those Uber's advantage for his team. Even though Uber exchange really did, he was able to keep his players like with 30% Uber advantage in the exchange itself, which is always a good thing to see from the Medics players if they can kind of track those Uber properly. So, yep, showing a lot of dominance on their pick here for Witness Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, a good bit of a comeback from Globalclan there. Kind of feels in line with what we've been seeing. Right, they have some shows of dominance. They're not getting completely shut out. Looked like it might have been trending that way for the first, 2.5 minutes of that round, but they're able to come in, they start getting kills. Anthony's activating a little bit. Some good plays coming in from the Globalclan scouts, but ultimately it's just a little, too little too late. It really requires a miracle to come back when you're down 2.5 minutes in a call round.
Yeah, I mean, when you're down 2 minutes like that, and they literally just have to cap once, like, you really have to go for kind of those Hail Mary plays towards the end of the round to kind of salvage picks. Maybe find a little time before they can eventually see the team with the advantage trickle onto that point and just recapture. So finding those potential plays on the side of, like, maybe, we saw Darty make some plays already in that match, so maybe if he can find something for his team, there is potential there. But however, it kind of just ended up in 2 people feeding before they even got on cap, which is not what you want, actually. That's probably the worst case scenario is you lose players, but even before they get on the point in Uber, so they're gonna have to cook a little bit harder when it comes to kind of making those kind of obvious plays. But nonetheless, looks like we're getting on a new server here, so there will be a small intermission before we start the next round. It should be relatively quick.
Yeah, I think they're just players waiting to get in. Probably going to take this time to do maybe a little bit of a strat calling as well right now. I thought there were a couple points too where Anthony was able to kind of get through, at least go in and make a trade kill for Globalclan, but ultimately someone ends up dying right as that happens. So difficult situation, for them to work with.
Yeah, I think Anthony would have to go for a Hail Mary on either Hubba as a drop play or maybe even just killing Logan or Moose. I mean, when you kill a combo class like that, it could really turn the tempo onto the side of Globalclan if Anthony or Sandblast, or anyone else on Globalclan can kind of find that opening. But besides that, I mean, there were a lot of good things happening in the match. Like even if they were down numbers, they were still able to kind of trade out for both teams, so both teams were able to get their kind of ones. But I mean, it really came down to that pressure on the midpoint itself. We kind of saw Witness Gaming Xiao kind of having full control of the point, with just Logan and Moose kind of just completely running over the combo for Globalclan without much contest, because Logan, he's just gonna hit every sticky. So if you're Scratch or Dingo, you're gonna have to try to deny that spam from Logan in any way possible. And honestly, I would just sack a player onto him and just trade him every single fight if possible. I mean, that's what I would do personally, but could be kind of crazy, but who knows.
Not the worst strategy. Just fully load up the Anthony, send him in, have him nuke Logan off the map, try to win the resulting 5v5. wouldn't surprise me if that ends up being a valid strategy with how good he's been on Bagel, both in this match and what we've seen from him previously in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. I mean, I've played a match against Anthony before. It wasn't even like a cup or something. I remember playing like a main season like 4 years ago in Stem, and I was on Medic, and he was just completely dumpstering me with that dumpster device, man. Like he was destroying me with it, and Metaworks. It was some crazy just like bombs he was kind of creating, and honestly, he's the only one kind of innovating these bombs on that weapon. So, if anything, I only have praise for the guy. I mean, he's running that weapon at the top of invite, making it look like it's decent. So I respect that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, in that, Gully match we got to see earlier, at what I presume might be the clip of the season with, I think it was him and must have been Sandblast hiding up in heaven, double bombing second from behind. Anthony gets 3 kills on one release, 4th right after. Just goes to show you the literal explosive potential that weapon has. But we already back up. It is already 1-0 Witness Gaming. First map of the first round of playoffs. Globalclan still on red, Witness still on blue.
Yep, just a passive mid, kind of both teams spamming early. However, Aimer taking that really aggressive stance inside of his own house here, just getting so much spam onto Dingo and Scratch early before the cap even happened. In fact, Gratitude got down to 50 HP before the mid even started here. And this game uses that advantage of HP just to kind of get on that cap before Globalclan does. Scratch tries to find the contention. However, Darty and Scratch are able to kill Loaf before anything really even happened there, so that's a great pick for them. However, they might try to still cap for Witness Gaming. Scratch getting pressured off. Minaj trying to spam from that house. And looks like Globalclan just has full control of the map right now. Unless Aimer has something to say about it as he tries to peek through the window. And Darty looking for the pinch. Anthony bombing through the window. Aimer does know he can get pinched there as well, so he jumps away, getting his kit. Then bombing in behind the Uber, tries to get on Logan, however, exchange does happen onto Scratch. Both Ubers are relatively even, no one is really chasing anything. However, Dingo and Sample are both dead in this exchange. So Globalclan Xiao are able to kind of just win out based off of picks there. As Scratch tries to run for his dear life, he does not. And again, another mid won by Witness Gaming Xiao.
Yeah, I mean, thought they might have had Globalclan kind of in the lead there once they were able to get that kill onto Loaf, but really resilient play from Xiao to just, hold it off, be able to wait for the numbers to come back in and eventually just bully Globalclan out, and now they're sitting in a similar spot to where they were after the mid on the first round.
Yep, so Globalclan is going to be kind of trying to break this forward hold. However, Logan and Moose are able to catch Anthony as they're trying to break it. It looks like Anthony kind of went alone there, so maybe he wasn't on the same page as the rest of his team. So there's going to be a reset happening for Globalclan as Witness Gaming in a very zen state, kind of setting up that forward hold. Logan has those deep stickies in lobbies, so with those stickies, there could be a potential kill found there. But Globalclan looking to try to get in through bottom right here against that forward hold of Witness Gaming Xiao. Scratch is the first one to die, and Dingo trying to trail it the best he can. However, Minaj isn't able to kill Dingo and gets traded. Already getting the kill onto Minaj. So now there is a pick potential here for Globalclan to kind of peek off of. Aimer, however, he's going a huge flank behind. Will he find some potential pick, or is he just going to try and spawn cap a player? He does get on Gratitude, gets the force. Huge force coming out of Robotnik or Aimer there. Anthony just gonna back up, get some spam in. However, remember, Hubita has not used, so there's gonna be full advantage with point for Globalclan Xiao. And honestly, this is looking a great spot for Witness Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, hard to argue. You're able to get that force out, keep your med, from having to use in return. The sack will be coming in. Hubita popped up into the sky. Probably that beggar is going to be the culprit, but ultimately just ends up being that, a sack. Will leapfrog the Uber ad back in favor of Gratitude, but ultimately it's just more time bought off the point right now for Witness Gaming. Almost 2 minutes in their favor. Likely going to be a little bit more by the time Gratitude's able to get Uber and they're able to use in. And even then the leapfrog going to be, kind of more slanted towards Witness Gaming. So need to see a big play out of Globalclan right now unless they want this one to really start getting out of hand.
Globalclan soldiers are trying to get in through bottom left here. However, they do get met by the scout and spam of the Witness Gaming combo. They do lose both the scout and the soldier, Sandblast and Scratch. So Witness Gaming, again, still have advantage. Actually, they did end up forcing, sorry, to Anthony. So Globalclan does have advantage here. And we're going to try and see how Globalclan, again, similar to the last round we just watched, are able to use this advantage to try to retake. 30 seconds left on Witness Gaming Xiao's kind of cap time. And the ads is no longer, as it is even Ubers for both teams, and we are expecting an exchange to come out here really soon. I want to see what direction Scratch and his team are able to take this exchange. As Hubita and Logan and Moose are going to wrap behind them in lobby, they find the first kill onto Scratch here as the counter pop happens from Gratitude. And Sambas is left alone in main and are running away.
Not even finding a player to Uber. popped up by Loaf, gonna be a free med kill right there. Not even an exchange, Gratitude forced to pop to stay alive. All the players split up, kind of not expecting that aggressive Uber, and Winners Gaming looking pretty dominant on this map, I gotta say.
Now, you can tell they're dominant and confident on a map like this when they take a even exchange when they have point into lobby against Globalclan. Like, you can only really take those exchanges once you know the situation well enough and you are able to take those exchanges and kind of catch them by surprise, which is exactly what Witness Gaming Xiao did this match in that second round. As we do enter the third round, I mean, a great showing from Witness Gaming already in this best of 3 map 1. Mids just started here. Witness Gaming is already taking, again, that aggressive stance on point as Moose takes that stance on the point early, just to pressure Dingo off the point as we kind of wait for the cap to unlock here for both teams. Are we going to see some potential soldier high bombs from either of these teams? I'm thinking no here, as they're kind of just waiting for the cap to unlock and then maybe fighting house. Aimer looking to find that early fight on the step by Anthony and Darty, which he actually does. And everyone's just kind of hiding in bottom right for the team side Globalclan. Dingo getting caught again, but yeah, look for the house.
Edgebot to survive there? I think he might have. I'm not sure. He got really low and bounced off of something. But it will be the mid going over for Witness Gaming anyway, not even worrying about Logan going down, just able to bully them out with their presence and damage. Now, both Meds having Uber Gratitude, not going to want to wait too long, but Moose getting aggressive may force the issue. Uber's popped out at about the same time, but so many low players on the side of Globalclan. Moose the only one. Such a strong forward position means there's no one to shoot.
Yeah, nothing really happening in that exchange. Again, his Scratch's team was kind of either respawning one player or dead or not even in the round to take that exchange with them. So now we're just having a fight. Default, no Uber exchange here. Aimer, almost getting caught there with the rocket. It dies so early. Looks like Globalclan are just going to be able to take cap back as Witness Gaming is running away with low numbers. Sambless maybe becoming a pick here. It actually just jumps out here. No picks to be found. And Witness Gaming Xiao are kind of just biding their time, getting their players back alive and getting ready for the next drive fight.
Yeah, about all you can do right there. Ubers are about as even as they can be right now. Starting to walk up, going to rely on that big damage coming in from Logan. Sticky's being arced to the point, not quite finding anyone but Loaf onto Sandblast, opening things up. Gonna be Dingo going down next, and Gratitude forced to use the Uber to delay the cap. They'll find Logan. Hubita didn't want to use that, but will be forced to take it in on Moose. Way better Uber on the offense, though. Gratitude getting to hit the nice surf into lobby. May not be enough, though. Getting chased out, but no, they give up the chase. Loaf hit up low. Gonna die overcommitting in lobbies. The cap hasn't gone through yet, and maybe a rare misstep from Witness Gaming here as they really overcommit. Gratitude, again, incredible surf to kind of zigzag in through the main entrance out onto point, and they're going to survive, keep the ad and the point.
We're seeing a little kind of a toppling effect. As I say, that Moose actually does go scratching. What basically just seems like a 6v6 drive fight here, and Witness Gaming is able to just recap the point. However, Gratitude did have a little bit of ad here, so if they can somehow build more of this advantage, they can take it back into Witness Gaming potentially. But yeah, we saw a winning side fight for Globalclan at the beginning of that. Like you said, Witness Gaming kind of threw their advantage there and then lost Hubita while Gratitude hits the surfs out. But even through that, it looks like Ubers are actually going to be completely even, which I thought would be. It's just kind of strange because remember, Gratitude had a little bit of time to just get that advantage there. It might have been big enough to push off of, but we are facing an even Uber situation for both teams as Globalclan is able to bust out of the forward hold. Presence from Globalclan out of Valley while Witness Gaming kind of waiting it up. Logan gets the pick on the Anthony. Great start to this fight here. A minute and 30 seconds for Witness Gaming Xiao to hold this for potentially another round here, but Globalclan needs to press this issue further.
Yeah, they still do have the Uber right now. They're burning time off the clock. Popped off onto Scratch, getting in deep. Needing to force Hubita, just dancing for his life. Doesn't even care that there's an Uber scout in front of him. Will now be forced to use, but the Uber's already faded. Everyone on Globalclan scattering. Scratch gonna be the sacrifice. Looks like he may be the only one going down. But incredible jukes from Hubita right there. Almost got to keep the Uber as well.
Globalclan does want to try and just take a refight right back into however both the enemies, both soldiers on Witness Gaming Xiao are going to be able to bomb in, killing Dingo and Anthony. However, trading their life for those picks. Scratch and Darty able to clean up Minaj. So actually not the greatest timing for the soldiers on Witness Gaming Xiao. However, they did try and kind of clean up the medic there. With no pressure and no soldiers, Witness Gaming Xiao will have to give up the point here as Globalclan, a minute and 40 left on their own time to kind of win out this round here. Scratch will deny the point recap from Moose and Logan. However, the cap is already so close to being recaptured. Oh, great rockets coming out of Sandblast onto Logan and Moose. However, no kills there. Are we going to see a potential exchange coming out here immediately from scratch? They do. It's actually a timing. They have advantage. Habita dies to the exchange. Minaj getting to pick up the Anthony. 5 versus 5 here, but Habita dying. Logan getting picked up by Sandblast. Moose and Robotnik are able to kill Dingo and Sandblast. And then Scratch is able to clean up both soldiers from Witness Gaming. Both scouts coming in. Oh, and they don't get anything.
The bodyguard work from Scratch and Darty there coming in huge, as Gratitude's able to stay alive, keep this, 25% ad or so. And Globalclan coming close to evening up this clock.
Witness Gaming, remember, to have a little bit of dis ad, Gratitude was able to stay alive that entire fight, as Habita was the focused kill in that last Uber they exchanged and took. However, are they just going to get the cap? They do not, actually. Witness Gaming almost just capped under the side of Globalclan. This so close, though. They actually do get it. Moose gets the cap during this. Not really what you want to see, as Scratch is dead during that. However, they bomb the medic and don't get it, so there's just kills being given to Witness Gaming Xiao for seemingly no reason here. However, Aimer looking for the potential flank here. You realize it's too late. They're already going to be out of lobby here. Advantage for Gratitude. 17 seconds left on the clock here. Is Globalclan going to be able to kind of press this kind of problem they've been having about feeding and just take a straight up exchange right into them? How about that? 85%. 10 seconds left. Are they going to be able to get an exchange going here? They do. Both scouts are in this Uber. They're going to have to recap during this. How about at 95%? Looks like he's going to live here. Anthony getting the pick on the Minaj. How about with full Uber? This could be a potential push for the side of Witness Gaming Xiao here.
Yep, they don't actually have overtime quite yet. 1 second away. They're going to trade Scratch and Low. But Gratitude sniped out by Logan. So Anthony now hiding behind, gets the kill onto Robotnik, draws some players back. It's basically a full wipe coming in on the side of Globalclan. Cap comes back in. Sandblast, I said wipe, was left up, but not going to be able to do too much to stop that. And we are on map point for Witness.
I mean, towards the end of that fight, I mean, Logan was like in their lobby, kind of just flanking them and ended up cleaning up Darty. I mean, his positioning there was kind of crazy, but they did end up getting Gratitude and Habita while he was alive. They were just able to kind of play heals and just play kind of spread out and make sure nothing can get on top of Habita, making sure nothing can kind of clean up kills when they shouldn't have to for Witness Gaming. Witness Gaming 3-0 in this map as we start the next mid 4 for these teams for this map 1. Again, a slow-paced mid-fight. Oh, actually, Anthony's going deep here, trying to jump out from left house. Ooh, great movement, great jump out of there. Aimer looking at the bomb to point here. Scratch becoming the kill. Robotnik's still living. Robotnik, great damage on the Sandblast and Dingo. Does end up killing both of them. And Gratitude lives this mid, but, I mean, there was a lot of try there on that mid, just trying some new things. But all in all, Globalclan was not able to find anything. Witness Gaming, again, another successful mid done by them on this round 4 of this map 1.
Yeah, I mean, Gratitude surviving is the silver lining here. We're going to have this bit of a forward hold to go through. Darty off on the sniper. Finds Habita right away, though, so no Uber for the Witness med. That's going to immediately signal everyone to start backing off. Loath maybe looking to stay a little bit aggressive, hiding out on plat, but I don't think he's going to run into anyone. Bit of a slow play from Globalclan. Habita's come back up. I think they're going to ideally want to try to just bully their way into point without needing to use this Uber, but Witness is probably going to make them force.
Yep, they do get forced by Low.
One rocket in the drop, but the Gratitude just didn't use!
Oh, I thought you weren't going to get the force there, but there's a second soldier there, and I don't even know how Low got there. He must have been hiding in this lobby the entire time, but they do get the drop on the Gratitude. As they try to sack onto Habita here, Habita living with 50 HP, gets the kit. Globalclan not able to successfully kill the medic, but Sandblast does get Logan, but man, that is just a sequence of events you do not want to see. Habita, or Gratitude, just dropping that Uber to both the soldiers, I guess uncalled, because they were just in on top of the medic, so that was just unfortunate for the side of Globalclan.
Hiding in the corner on, I think it was flat, kind of near like the little cases.
Oh, yeah.
And just walked out. I thought that first rocket was going to be enough to drop. Gratitude, if it wasn't, he got popped off and it still didn't use as the other soldier came in. And I mean...
Dingo dropping Habita there in that while we were talking there. So actually, both medics ended up just not having Uber here in this next fight. Remember, we're in a similar situation as every round before. Witness Gaming has insane cap time. Globalclan hasn't even capped once in this round, so again, with Gratitude having an advantage, are we going to be able to walk out?
Sniffed out, but just nukes Darty!
Oh my god, he's going to go for more!
In the face, still juking around, drawing players back. Anthony will finish off the kill, but sets Robotnik up for a freebie, takes him out, going to be now traded out as well. He's on the shotgun there, I believe. So, getting a little frisky with it as he smells the blood in the water. but shouldn't really be too much of an impediment right now. I mean, as bad as that drop for Gratitude is, realistically, don't think it's going to be too impactful on the ultimate result of this map.
Ooh, Scratch actually getting Hubada in this exchange here. They have, again, another uber ad situation where they're able to kill Hubada. However, every time they've been able to kill Hubada, I feel like only chaos has happened afterward. And again, it's already starting as Globalclan already lost 4 players. It's just Gratitude and Antony, and they get flanked. Again, Gratitude and Antony living last players alive, and they just get completely wiped. And I'm seeing a trend here. Whenever you see the exchange on the side of Globalclan kill a medic, the post uber never really works out for them. So unfortunately, I think Hubada knows that, and he's letting them kind of take those Ubers maybe, and then kind of his whole team just kind of collapses post. So again, a great fight from Witness Gaming. Xiao there, 12 seconds on their clock here as Globalclan has to get out of bottom left here to even have a chance of refighting in the mid fight here. Sandblast entering first, able to get through, no cap time yet, 3 seconds left on the clock. Daria getting in from top left. Are they going to be able to get onto the point? Very close, but doesn't think they can. 4-0 on this best of 3 map 1 for Witness Gaming. Xiao on their own pick here. Strong showing overall. Not too shabby from Witness Gaming.
Absolutely, yeah. Really dominant. You want to see of a team that's really going to be looking to compete with Froyo for first place in this mini season. Already kind of split matches as well, showing that Bagel's a map that they can, fight with anyone on. And really, if you're Globalclan, it doesn't really get much better, because now the map that you're kind of forced to go to is CP Process, which you got 5-0 on last week.
That is true. I mean, however, even though that's the case, again, Globalclan had a really good showing that last week. I mean, they were rounds where they could have got, like you said. I mean, they were on their last, they were on those pressures, so potential there into the second map here. But just going over Bagel for now, I see. I mean, there's a lot of pretty much the same occurrence of what's happened logs wise. I mean, Aimer Robotnik top fragging on his team with highest damage. I mean, this guy is a goddamn beast, man. I mean, Robotnik top fragging, kind of dominating those house pressures and getting those forces and flanks off perfectly. And honestly, overall kind of makes the damage spread, the kills make sense. However, Globalclan top damage for Scratch and top kills, and I mean the heal spread is literally 52% between both combo players. That's pretty much the common occurrence there. For a scout, you get so much damage on you when you try to cap point. You're gonna need those heals. There's just not a lot you can do for the rest of his team. If he's able to take Ubers for Scratch, the rest of his team needs to find a role, needs to find a way to fight and get in with his combo, with their combo, with Scratch taking those Ubers. But I mean, they just weren't able to find anything, and the dominance from Witness Gaming kind of just overtook them, and they didn't have many answers, it seemed like. So really just weak-sided there, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I mean, what's funny is you're looking and, more death for Hubada than Gratitude. So, you've got more Ubers. You've got more Ubers despite getting 4-0'd, and your frags almost doubled. And yet Hubada still got more heals per minute than Gratitude does, which, probably going to come between a combo of having more players alive. A lot of times Gratitude's surviving, with only one, maybe no players going back to spawn. But, when it comes to finding the med, at least Globalclan's got that on lock. The question then is, are you giving up too much in exchange for the medic? Which answer right now seems to be yes.
Yeah, I think just prioritizing the medic on a team like Witness Gaming Xiao with 5 very capable fragging classes on each role, I mean, that's not going to be your top priority there. You want to try and kind of trade out the kills that matter more, which are going to be maybe Logan, like we said earlier, or maybe like a soldier trade in the houses. Having even just a soldier pick when you're retaking the point is actually super valuable. And then even the scouts are going to be very valuable too. Like if I'm with Antony or Sandblast, just bombing a scout, trading my life for that scout is already infinite value in my eyes. So, well, unfortunately, even with that idea, it comes down with the pressure involved in it, and I guess they just couldn't find it properly. So, nonetheless, great showing for at least Witness Gaming Xiao. And I want to see if Global can kind of make a comeback on Process here. We have a different roster than the last week they played this map against Witness Gaming Xiao, and that match was actually really close. So, who knows how this one's going to go? I can only assume Witness Gaming Xiao is going to try and lock in and make sure that doesn't happen again. But at least the outcome would be like a 5-0 or something.
Yeah, playoffs, the stakes are going to be higher, but I think for the time being, we are going to take a quick break, give Exile and I some time to rest our voices, get a drink of water. So, Dolphin, if we could hit like a 90-second break or so, don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back, gamers and gamettes, to this RGL.GG Invite Sixes playoff match. We are one map in to the first round of the match between Globalclan Xiao, or Globalclan and Witness Gaming Xiao, excuse me, here in week 1 of the mini-season. Witness Gaming just had a very dominant 4-0 on Koth Bagel, and coming in to CP Process, which, while Globalclan's pick doesn't look to make things any easier for them, as Exile and I got to cast this exact matchup on Process last week that ended up being a 5-0 for Witness Gaming. So with their spot in the upper bracket on the line, Globalclan going to need to show some serious growth right now, taking a round off a team they've been unable to all season if they want to avoid dropping down.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, we watched them last week, and I'm going to keep saying it. I mean, there is a little bit of hope from me that I can see the Globalclan boys kind of get a few rounds, maybe even, who never know. We don't really know what's going to happen, but my prediction is a 5-2 still for Witness Gaming Xiao to kind of edge out the victory there. But again, since it's the playoffs, there's going to be a lot more locked-in players here. I can only assume that they're going to have a lot more kind of theory and crafts going on into this match. And this is map 2 of this best of 3 upper bracket round 1, Witness Gaming Xiao versus Globalclan. Yeah, I mean, I hope from the last match we watched, they were able to kind of make some changes and differences for Globalclan, where they can kind of fix those kind of open spots they've kind of found themselves in and fill them somehow. But it can really go either or right now, honestly.
Yeah, and if you were listening to us kind of in the lead-in to Bagel, listening to us last week, it's been kind of the same narrative for all of these games of Globalclan has their flashes of brilliance. They're showing that they can win fights, but they're just never able to convert. Last week on Process, what that meant was for the first 10 minutes of the match were Globalclan really sitting outside of Witness Gaming's last. It didn't matter what they were trying, they were not able to crack that last point and would eventually just end up getting pushed back, all the way before Witness Gaming really took the momentum and kind of, dominated in the back half of it. But the potential's there, right? Different roster. You have Dingo and Gratitude in now instead, as we are getting live here. Globalclan, going to try to get themselves a round here against Witness Gaming before the match is over.
Yeah, we are going to go live here into the first mid here. Witness Gaming Xiao versus Globalclan, map 2 on Process. Witness Gaming Xiao is up 1-0 in this best of 3 already. And I'm super excited to see how this first mid goes for both teams. Last time we saw them play, a lot of aggression kind of coming out of Globalclan early on, and Anthony going for those high bombs with his daggers was really fun to see here. Early on here, he is getting a lot of pressure on him though, however, Anthony backing up, trying to get those arrows as Witness Gaming takes the initial stance of height early, and Minaj even taking the far left presence against Samus gets directed though. Body ego play kind of going into that though. 4 versus 4 now for both teams. Gratitude going down to 27 HP. Ooh, great pipe coming out of Dingo onto Lope here. Gratitude staying alive. Hubba, Logan, and Moose are going to try and still fight this in a 3 versus 4 scenario. It does look like a lost fight though, however, but they're pretty confident they're going to try and still fight this. There is little cap time for the side of Globalclan, so they do got to try and worry about that here. Logan being spread out, gets pipe and cleaned up by Dory Scratch and Dingo there. Holy, great pipe coming out of Dingo in this entire mid, actually. It's going to be a very different tempo shift for the Globalclan boys going into this map too.
Yeah, and I mean, Gratitude surviving all the pressure sunk into him on that mid is huge. It allowed the team to get numbers out. I liked what Witness Gaming did there. They knew the soldiers were down. There wasn't anyone that could really get onto Hubba, so they, stayed, tried to fight out the 3v4. Delayed time for some spawns as Robotnik coming in from orbit. Gonna find a ton of damage, will eventually be cleaned up by Minaj. As the numbers now back in favor of Witness, they're going to get pushed back into mid here. Even Uber's on both sides now as well. So Dingo getting caught out. Minaj coming in behind from Sewer means the exchange is going to go forward, but the numbers are 6v3 in favor of Witness. They're going to have to take it back. Sandblast on a Silver Pelt gets chipped out. Gratitude's going to go down, and Globalclan showed up big on the mid, but then just unable to keep it together.
Man, I mean, I kind of watched that happen. It was a really obvious case of when your combo scout has Uber and there's a losing situation for you, just rip an exchange. However, with Witness Gaming Xiao having the height and a player behind, I mean, that ended up being the downfall there, because Minaj was able to pick up 2 before the Uber even ended, and also living and getting Scratch and Gratitude killed in the end as they take their Uber through 5 here on this 100% ad. They're going to get a lot of early cap time. The flash coming out from Hubba onto Moose here, getting the kill onto Anthony here, getting the trade onto Low for Scratch, but however Moose and Robotnik are able to just clean house. Darty on Heavy is not able to get do enough here. Oh, we get the kill into Robotnik though, but nonetheless, I mean, even after a mid cap, Witness Gaming Xiao was kept their composure and completely dominated them from mid to last and just winning the round there. So 1-0 for Witness Gaming Xiao, already showing that dominance we saw last week.
Yeah, I mean, just winning their ones when they needed to. And as you said, you know, that you're losing players ripping exchange doesn't work when they already have 2 people behind you. You know, it's even, and now suddenly you're entirely surrounded. Could have maybe used that Uber to get out. It was probably, you know, it was probably ruined from the start. Anthony and Robotnik both getting aggro on top of mid, going to trade some damage. Both drop back to get the heals right now. Minaj getting aggressive. Loaf coming in over Sewer. Initial trades coming through. 1 scout already down on the side of Globalclan. Gonna be Anthony forced to jump out low, and the numbers now in favor of Witness. The pressure even more so, leaving 1 scout behind to cap. Moose leading the charge, forcing everyone back into last.
I'm really liking how Minaj and his team are playing these mids. Minaj is getting so deep in these fights and cleaning up the low players. As I said, Dingo gets a kill onto Moose here on this reset of last here. Both teams are going to be even Uber. Oh, but actually they kill Logan. So in theory, there is a potential peak here onto second. There is no demo here. Anthony's able to get in for free. And it looks like Minaj is going to give it up here. The right play there. Unfortunately, losing your demo there is going to be really hard to keep that second pressure on the enemy team second. But during this whole thing, they actually want to drive-by for the side of Globalclan. Low high bombing, landing on Sandblast and Anti as they try to jump through. Darty getting through IT alone and getting a lot of damage on him. And even though they had the pick early, both players are now alive for Witness Gaming Xiao, and Globalclan have to play this a lot slower because of the even Uber situation and even players. And they looks like they just want to back up and just take the win they got of getting second back and kind of hold it down.
Yeah, I don't hate getting aggressive. You're only going to have so many opportunities to push 6v5 with no Logan. Ultimately not able to get anything, but they don't lose anything too much, although Robotnik coming in, nuke scratch up, I should have gets the force too. That is huge, as second now going in favor of Witness. Hubba not even having to use, leaving players behind to cap. They're coming right in through 4, trying to start pressuring point immediately. Cap time starting, Uber used out, Anthony popped up, will go around the world, makes it back up top. Darty's going to be the only one going down thus far in the Uber, but there's so many Witness Gaming players here in on last. Sandblast coming down next. Point pressure going to be converted soon. Loaf the only kill, it should be around.
Man, we're just seeing these, it's like we're going through a time machine and going back round and round again, because like we just saw the same thing happen where Globalclan has the advantage, and once they lost the advantage, Witness Gaming is able to push for more and eventually just getting the round secured just off of that basis alone. So second round being won for the Witness Gaming Xiao players against Globalclan. I mean, honestly, it's actually higher pace than the last time we watched, because they were actually not even up 2-0 at this time in the game.
Exactly, yeah, no, we were still watching the 4th or 5th failed last push coming in. Very aggressive soldier jump from Robotnik, already getting behind in Sewer. Gonna have to see putting the pressure onto Globalclan. Do they choose to aggro past it? Turn around to do them. Both soldiers in now. Anthony already nuked out. Wall shot on to Gratitude. He's dead right off the bat. Dingo manages to find Logan, but with no medic, it's going to be too little, too late. Scratch gets the consolation frag onto Robotnik. Sandblast trying to cause whatever damage he can. Not going to be too much there. Hubba safe in his own Sewer. Darty running in though. Gets the kill onto Moose. Might have the inside track right now. Hubba hit up low, meeting up with the spawners. 1 health.
Close.
So not able to convert. Darty so close, but so far.
What a great conversion, though, in that mid for Globalclan. As they were losing their medic, they were able to speed up and look for those kills early. Dingo and Scratch initiating there on the high ground, able to kill both scouts, and then Darty trying to kill the medic there. He actually lived with 13 health, 1 shot away. I don't think Darty had a shot loaded there, so he was unable to get the kill. However, Hubba living that entire mid, having that full advantage, as Witness Gaming Xiao are able to push through choke here with that advantage. Gratitude only at 60%. Globalclan looking to just run away. I mean, everyone living here is actually perfectly fine. Moose living with 1 HP. He must have almost died to a trap, but those busts from Hubba do feel pretty good about now. Globalclan knowing we're not getting this Uber on second potentially, so we're gonna all just leave too and be okay with our final last hold here. For the first time in this map so far, being able to play kind of on our own terms here on this last hold. However, Moose speeding up through 4, trying to get through. Logan gonna kill the gun. Maybe a sack potential coming in for the side of Witness Gaming job, but nope, second cap yet. And it doesn't look like they want to just put... Oh, actually, they do. Aimer going really deep onto Dingo. does not get the kill. Great surf coming out of Dingo. Witness Gaming Xiao looking to just play 5 and run away here. Scratch almost dying there, actually, but overall there, I mean, they finally have a hold. I mean, we're holding last year. This is the first time we've been able to see that. So good for Globalclan here. Witness Gaming Xiao, what's the next move?
Yeah. Gonna, you know, balls in their court right now. Gonna see no off classes right now. Darty going back over to that engineer. Gonna try to get the level 3 built up. Scratch on the sniper, trying to deny entrance to lobby right now. I think if you're Globalclan, you're content to just slow the game down, you know. Make sure Witness loses all that momentum they got from their early round. Scratch getting even more aggressive right now. Minaj now having off-classed himself. Going in through one door, trying to see if he can find anyone, but Robotnik catches Scratch out too aggressive, and that may be the signal for the aggression to start. Minaj onto Gratitude finds the drop.
Drop on some Gratitude. Oh, G's coming out right out from Hubda into the last hole. Only 2 players live on the side of Globalclan. Sandblast with 11 HP. He's going to run out with escape plan to not get anything. These conversions are crazy. I mean, Witness Gaming Xiao's pressure is so good. They're able to just even keep fighting and keep peeking before the sniper's even there and just create that opening for him to peek off of, dropping Gratitude from lobby. I mean, man, Witness Gaming Xiao's looking so good right now with those peaks. And we're already on round 4 of this map 2 in the best of 3 upper bracket round 1. I mean, I'm kind of scared for Globalclan right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess coming into this, the flip side is we kind of expected this to a degree. I think we would have liked to have seen, you know, Globalclan put up a, you know, better performance and have somewhat of an upset, as Anthony coming in hot on this mid will get destroyed right off the bat.
What a
I think,
serve,
you know, at this point it's a bit of a, it's a bit of a desperation call of, you know, throw whatever you can, you know, leave no strat untested, leave no limit untested, but I think that it's just the cards are too stacked in favor of Witness Gaming right now. The individual talent is so big right now, and when you've got as solid team play as they do, you know you're going to need a roster. I'd say, you know, the caliber of Furrios to really be seriously contesting them.
Unfortunately, Globalclan has had a rotating roster this whole season, missing a demo and a medic periodically throughout the weeks here, which is an unfortunate thing for a cohesion standpoint here. Gratitude hitting a great surf on Robonic's bomb. No follow-up from on the Witness Gaming Xiao for that damage. Gratitude living with around like 50 HP there. One rocket probably could have forced him, but nonetheless, again, Globalclan is able to hold last one more time here. I want to see a sniper for the side of Globalclan. I mean, let's see. Oh, actually, Anthony Dingo dying in lobby. 4 versus 6 now. A scratch on sniper here. However, with the picks for Witness Gaming Xiao, they can kind of just walk through whatever door they choose against that sniper. They chose 1 and 2 as they kill the. They're trying to kill the gun here. Minaj getting into heaven with his soldier. Potentially exchange happening from Gratitude. It does happen. Both Ubers are exchanged here. Loeb actually finding Scratch on NG, and then a crazy rocket onto Anthony. Darty become the next player to get picked up there. And again, just another, not even like, there's really nothing Globalclan could have done there except for not feed those players, and then they unfortunately lost 2 in lobby, which Witness Gaming Xiao is the caliber of team to know, well, we have the advantage, we gotta use that and get that round secured. Is exactly what they did.
Yeah, I mean, damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? I mean, you play aggressive to try to stop the, you know, the tide of Witness Gaming from coming in, and then when you fail, you're just making it even easier to push last. But, you know, I think Witness has already shown they can win these straight 5v5 fights, so you're not really losing too much by trying it. I think we going into this, you know, as we come in here onto this last mid, Anthony coming in, trying to nuke someone from orbit. Great serve from Logan to get aggressive. Will eventually go down to Sandblast as Gratitude's going to go down. 3 for 3 so far, but with those heals being dead, it's going to be Witness able to convert this mid. We kind of knew there was a pretty big gap between 1 and 2 seeds this season and then the rest of the division. So I think Globalclan, you know, coming into, they will almost definitely be playing, I think, the Tub, who I imagine are, you know, heavy underdogs against Froyo. So that should definitely be a match, you know, worth watching, as I think Globalclan's going to be favored in that one, but definitely going to be closer gameplay.
Yeah, as this is going on here, another mid one for Witness Gaming Xiao. Again, Hubda has only died 1 time. Oh, missed shot from Scratch. Potentially could have salvage something. However, Hubda knew there'd be a sniper, and he actually went IT, so great read there from Hubda and his combo. Again, another full Uber coming into last year. They spotted the gun and the heavy, so we're gonna see an Uber coming out, maybe through just like 4-door, maybe 3-door. But they actually do want to kill the gun first before the Uber even comes out. Actually, they do take the exchange into the gun here. Remember, this is an ad push coming out of side Witness Gaming Xiao. Uber ending on the left side. Moose not getting the exchange, post flash there, actually. Now it's 4 versus 4 for the
Robotnik
side of
catches
Windscreen, though.
Gratitude out, though, so no chance of a return. Uber, no one getting healed to able to stay out. They're going to, be forced to contest this with no buff. Dingo's trying to make it out of spawn, keeps getting hit low. Logan just a menace on this last point, and that's going to do it. The 5-0 coming in just over 13 minutes for the side of Witness Gaming as they will move on to the upper bracket finals, where you have to imagine they're going to have their rematch of Destiny with Froyo Tech.
Absolutely. That's going to be an insanely good watch for any of the people watching today and moving forward here. However, this is the 2-0 match finish for Globalclan of Witness Gaming Xiao. I mean, the predictions kind of say it all. We all knew that Witness Gaming Xiao was the higher and stronger seeded team. And I mean, Globalclan with their rotating roster, there's just not a lot of cohesion we want to see into the playoffs. I mean, they're basically just trying out a new roster at this point. But nonetheless, there were some good things to be spotted there. I mean, the mid that Globalclan was able to secure was a good thing to see there. So there was a little bit of a DM comprehension there for the side of Globalclan. However, Witness Gaming, their mid never died on those mid fights. He was able to keep advantage while Gratitude was the person to focus. And looking at a playstyle wise, I think Witness Gaming, Xiao, took the same notebook kind of pages that Globalclan took in that Bagel match, just focusing on the medic. That was exactly what happened. Gratitude was always the first or second kill in the mids, and that always ended up being a conversion for the side of Witness Gaming Xiao to finish those mid caps and then just go from mid to last right after. So, I mean, just kind of pretty much just top invite gameplay if we could see it in this match. But looking at the log, not very surprising stuff there either.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of log analysis you can do when, one team was just massively skewed, Anthony's 1-11, not the prettiest, but that's not really reflective of him as a player. Just, the team capabilities really manifesting there. So I don't think we're going to really look too much at that. I mean, really, I don't think there's much analysis we can do overall other than Witness Gaming Xiao is a very, very solid team, and there's a reason why they were very nearly the first seed coming into this season, or into the playoffs, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a one match difference there for Froyo Tech versus Witness Gaming to kind of secure that seed. And honestly, I'm going to say it how I think it is. I mean, Globalclan probably had the higher chance of playing against Witness Gaming Xiao anyways, over Froyo Tech, in my opinion. But just watching that match, it really shows how top dominant those two teams are in Invite, which are Froyo Tech and Witness Gaming Xiao. So, like we said, the lower bracket match, which we can only assume is going to be what we think it is, the Tub versus Globalclan. But that is my prediction. Will be a very exciting match to watch. So I think everyone should stay tuned in that. And like I said a little bit earlier, based on the logs, how about a one death? I was assuming it was going to be a perfect game for him. I don't even know where he died, honestly. It wasn't on a mid fight. But if it was, I missed it. It must have been the first one or something like that. I really don't know.
Or it might have been like a last push or something where they, sacked in on him while the cap still went through. It's probably, I guess. Those don't really count, I feel like, if you're winning the round. But, I think gonna start about wrapping it up for us right here. Dolphin, I think we have another match tomorrow, I believe? Yep, every day this week, so we'll have another one on Wednesday. Do we know what that one's gonna be?
Not sure.
Alright, yep, Dolphin confirming upper bracket final should be tomorrow. I think, looking at the team pages, looks like Tub and Froyo are currently playing at the moment. So, nothing against the fine fellows on the Tub, but I believe I can predict who's going to win that match.
Yeah, I kind of predict the same thing. So, with a Froyo Tech potential victory in my mind, there's going to be a great lower bracket match playing, and upper bracket, goodness gracious. We're going to be seeing some quality TF2, though. I think it's time for us to kind of wrap this up here, though.
Yeah, I will say for anyone interested, I just checked the logs. Looks like the first map in that Froyo Tub match was Sunshine, and a fairly quick 5-0 for Froyo, so I think we're nearing our way to locking that up. And Dolphin saying looks like they just won 5-0 in process as well. So should be the much hyped match we mentioned earlier of Witness Gaming Xiao versus Froyo tomorrow at 10, Dolphin? Yep, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, so not going to want to miss that. Don't think it's going to be Exile and I on tomorrow, but you will be in good hands regardless of whoever shows up. So tune in there, and thank you for watching. Otherwise, I think we'll say have a good night, and best of luck to the teams we just saw in their matches tomorrow.